Welcome to my Twisted Tarot Legacy Challenge. Here are the rules for Gen 1. Me Tallulah Tarot are Gen 1 Fool. Tallulah has recently moved out alone into this cute little trailer. Tallulah gets straight on the phone to find a job and decides the culinary field would be best for her. Despite never cooking for herself, how hard could it be? She enjoys some TV while thinking about her next move. A little light reading to prepare her for work tomorrow, and then she gets on the dating app. She matches with Arthur, and they agree to meet for a drink. It seems to be going okay until Arthur insults her style. Well, that's certainly an eventful first day to Tallulah. Not one to be put off, Tallulah tried another date. This time with Katarina. They hit it off and had a great evening together. It turned out that Katarina was as impulsive as Tallulah. So after only one kiss shared, Katarina wanted to be exclusive. Why not, right? They tried to meet up daily, getting drinks at the bar, but Tallulah was already feeling bored. The final straw came when Katarina accused her of not listening, and then pushed her away, so confused. Somehow Katarina was heartbroken, but Tallulah simply left, feeling inspired by her failed relationship. Tallulah tried out painting. Realizing she enjoyed it, she hastily quit her job and became a painter. Worn out from her busy week, she settled down to sleep on the floor for some reason. Tallulah once again enjoyed her single life. She painted morning to night when she wasn't reading, that is. Katarina begged for her to take her back, but she stuck by her decision. Tallulah even found a new hobby, knitting. A neighbor stopped by, so she welcomed her in. They got on well and Tallulah made them dinner. Well, she tried. You panic over, right? After a shower, Tallulah read her book to calm down, then went to sleep. But soon awoke to a noise. Thankfully, the police were quick. Seriously, is this day ever going to end? Yeah, great. Don't mind me sleeping with one eye open. Tallulah became a little paranoid, leading her to buy a telescope, which of course became her new obsession. Tallulah was back on the dating apps, and she invited over her latest date, Emmett. They got on really well, and though he was between jobs, he had a lot of interests. One thing led to another, and feeling inspired, Tallulah left Emmett to rest and returned to her painting. And when he awoke, he was in awe of her art. Tallulah hadn't forgotten about her telescope, though, and between work and sleep, she would be found stargazing. But she hadn't felt too well. Despite her unease, she still went to open mic night and met up with Emmett. He told her all about his new job and how much he hated it, but Tallulah just felt tired and sick. She gave him the present she'd been working on, a knitted animal cap, before returning home. The niggle of feeling unwell was distracting her from her knitting, so she decided to take a test. Positive, she was shocked to find she was having a baby. Ever oblivious, Tallulah told Emmett the news on his lunch break. Thankfully, he seemed happy. She said about cleaning her kitchen, wanting something productive to do. Before deciding this if she was going to be a parent, she should get to understand children better. So she quit her job and became a babysitter. Seems like Emmett is feeling the pressure too. Tallulah continued building her skills and napping more than ever. She had avoided Emmett a little, enjoying the new challenge of pregnancy. But when he phoned, she invited him over. Nothing had changed between them, and Tallulah hoped they could raise the child together. Tallulah continued developing her skills and didn't give much thought to her upcoming labor. But it was getting harder to manage her growing bump. And when she felt the pain starting, she rushed to hospital. She was only in the early stages of labor, so she walked hoping to meet her baby soon. Emmett came to visit her, but she told him she would give birth alone, and he should continue working. And soon it was time to push. Welcome, baby Monty. Tallulah was so happy to bring home her baby boy, but it was hard work. By the time she had fed Monty and rested, it was time to feed him again. She tried to cook food and she couldn't finish it, for fear of him crying too long. She was feeling drained already. Her hobbies had been forgotten, and work was a thing of the past. So when Emmett came to visit, she was overjoyed, especially when he told her to get some rest. He took care of the changes and rocking, and Tallulah slept. He washed up, put the rubbish away, and tittied before falling asleep himself. When Tallulah awoke, she felt refreshed. She left him to sleep while she took some painting time. As much as she wanted to be independent, she had to admit it was nice having Emmett around. So when he suggested that he moved in, while Monty was small, she agreed. While Emmett was working, the power went off. Tallulah was worried about money for the first time. She knew he would have been paid when he got home, but it was a bit of a wake-up call. Tallulah again changed job, taking on a writing job, and hoping she could work at home half of the time. They celebrated Monty's birthday, amazed that they had managed his first year. Emmett adored Monty and dreaded the day Tallulah wanted him to leave. Tallulah was often distracted with her hobbies, and Emmett would remind her to make time for Monty. The days while Emmett was at work were long, and Tallulah longed for something new. They talked about it and agreed they'd have a day out to the beach. While Emmett cared for Monty, Tallulah wrote stories aiming to sell them. The beach day was a huge success. Tallulah painted by the sea while Monty napped with Emmett. It was the calmest Tallulah had felt in a long while. When they returned from the beach, Tallulah felt low and anxious. She spoke to Emmett, acknowledging that they weren't really a couple, but she wanted to move. And if he wanted to be in Monty's life, they could live together. They agreed to move, and though their new home was modest, it had plenty for the three of them. Tallulah could spend her time painting or playing chess, while Monty was napping.
Though things were better living by the beach, Tallulah did hate the monotony. She wished she could go back to the days of dating freely. But she knew this was best for Monty, and Emmett was a good father. She tried to block out her feelings and hoped Emmett would cope with the unconventional situation they were in. He assured her he was content. He wanted to see Monty grow up, though he wouldn't mind a little more affection if she was happy to give it. Tallulah was happy with that. She hadn't wanted to confuse their friendship, but it seemed Emmett understood. When it came to Monty's next birthday, they were so happy with their little, unconventional family.
Life continued to be calm, and Emmett took on the majority of care for Monty when he wasn't working, leaving Tallulah to develop her skills and switch jobs when she felt like it. Her new interest was writing, and she spent all her spare time at the computer. Monty was a chilled-out toddler, happy to play with his blocks or his tablet. And Tallulah wasn't completely absent. She cared for Monty. She just couldn't have her whole life be about him. But Emmett truly loved being a father. He just wished for more of a romantic relationship. One day after Emmett and Monty had been to the beach, they came home to find a visitor. Their new neighbor Zachary had come to say hi. They spent the afternoon with him, finding that they all got along well. And as a bonus, Zachary was amazing with Monty, having worked as a babysitter previously. Once Monty was in bed, they enjoyed some drinks together. Tallulah could sense something brewing and was excited for a new opportunity. Emmett was definitely interested in Zachary, and Tallulah wondered if he could be the answer to their struggles. Zachary was nervous, but Tallulah showed him it was okay. It seemed too good to be true, but Zachary definitely seemed interested. Tallulah returned to her writing, and Zachary stayed the night. They agreed to talk about it with clearer heads. Monty was already a child. It was amazing to see him grow. As time passed, the throuple became closer. Monty loved having them all around, and things seemed to be going well. But again, Tallulah fancied a change. She wanted to move, though she loved the beach. She wanted a new challenge. Her skills were coming along well. They had their last sleep at the beach house before packing their things and traveling to Mount Hammurabi. Things went well for a while, with a new way of life and new adventures to be had. But while it brought Zachary and Emmett closer, Tallulah ended up feeling worse. The cold weather wasn't for her, and Monty missed the sea. Tallulah and Monty moved back to the beach house, and Emmett came to visit as often as he could. Monty felt happier, even if he did miss Emmett and Zachary. He was growing up to be responsible, sticking to his studies in a way his mom never had. He adored his time at the beach, though. He was a strong swimmer and loved to sit by the waves. He was so excited to see his dad on visits, but he was content living with his mom. Tallulah still didn't like to stay in one place too long, and on the rare occasions, Emmett took Monty to his house. She would find someone to spend the night with. She always made sure to fuss over Monty when he was home, though, and before they knew it, he was a teenager. As soon as Monty was a teen, he got a job. He decided to be a lifeguard outside of his school hours. Tallulah continued to change jobs regularly while working on her skills. Now that her painting skill was higher, Tallulah made more money, meaning they weren't constantly on edge. Monty had dreams of being a politician, raising money for charity, and trying to better the world. When it came to the holidays, Tallulah went all out. She decorated every inch of their home and made sure they could all have dinner together. They exchanged gifts before welcoming Emmett and Zachary. Lunch was delicious, and though she was flaky, Tallulah really had a heart of gold. Monty was a perfect student, while Tallulah was again switching job. The benefit to such a multi-talented mom was always having help with homework. Meet Juliet Forrest. Monty stumbled across an upset girl at the beach. She wouldn't say what was wrong, but he managed to distract her with a swim. They met up often from then on, Juliet slowly opening up about her controlling mother. She loved coming to his house where she could be free. Tallulah had finally achieved her aspirations, meaning her challenge is over. On to Gen 2.